For this recording, I want to show you how you can create a bolt that's going to form the way to actually fasten the phone holder onto the stand of your phone holder. So this part we did last week, and then we're going to have a look at the bolt that goes through here, ready for our assembly. We're going to be using the Helix tool we've used before and to help with this. So the bolt itself will look something like, when it loads up, something like this. Okay. So the bolt is 60mm long. It has a helix of 40mm coming through, and then it has a bolt head on top. That's a hexagon with a side length of 6mm, and then the nut at the end is very similar, but it's slightly thicker at 4mm deep. Okay, so how do we start this? Well, let's start a new sketch, or a new part studio, so we can create a fresh part for this. Okay. So I'm going to start by first of all clicking on the top work plane and selecting my new sketch. Okay, I'm pressing N, so I'm looking straight at this. I'm going to take my circle drawing tool and start from the origin and drag out a circle. I'm going to set this diameter to no more than 6mm. Okay, so it's going to be an M6 bolt. Okay, and then I'm going to extrude this to a height of 60mm. Okay, 60mm. Green tick. And there we have our tube created there. Okay. Next, we're going to select the Helix tool. So go through your menus until you find the Helix tool. And we're going to select on the menu here, we're going to pick height and pitch for us. Okay. The circular part that we're going to be using, the circular edge, is the base of our circle that we used for our original drawing. The height of it, I only want this to come up to 40mm here, so I'm going to type in 40 here, okay, enter, and the helical pitch is going to be just 1mm, okay, 1mm, okay, and that should give me a nice tight helix moving up there to represent the thread of our bolt. Green tick that, okay. Next part, we're going to move on to the front work plane, so click on that, click on sketch, and then press N so you're looking straight at it. And we're going to zoom right up to the face of our bolt here. Okay? I'm going to take my line drawing tool. I'm going to start from the point where the circle meets the vertical. Yeah? And I'm going to start by just dragging out and plotting a triangle. And that's going to have the same height as my pitch, so I'm roughly going to take it to about 1mm here, so it says 0.9 there. We're going to set the dimension in a minute anyway, so there, okay? And then I'm going to press escape. I could use my dimension tool. Take a line down and finish this off. There we are, there. See? I'm going to set this to be 1mm, okay? There we are, that's a 1mm pitch, and that matches the helix that goes round, okay? I'm going to green tick this. Then I'm going to take my sweep tool here, and we're going to use the remove part from this because I want to carve this profile into the cylinder. So we're going to click on remove. The face that I'm going to use is the triangle that we just drew, so sketch 2, so click on that. And the path is the helix path that I've just drawn, so click on that. Okay. What that should do is remove the shape from there. Unless, of course, I've done the height here of this line a little bit too tall. I should have done that less than 1mm. So I'm going to close that off and go back to my original sketch here. And we're going to change this to a slightly lower one. Let's change this to 0.9 instead. Okay, let's try that. Okay. Could be that. Okay, so we'll try the sweep again. We're going to pick the remove. The region is going to be the sketch 2 there, and the helix is going to be our sweep path. Try it again, hopefully it will work. Yes, that's happier there. It's just because it's slightly too tall there. Right, green tick that. And there we have our helix coming through. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to have a look at drawing the head of the bolt here. So we're going to move to the top of this. I'm going to select the top surface here of that. I'll put a new sketch on the top surface. This is going to represent the bolt head. Press N so you're looking straight at it. And I'm going to pick this tool here, which is called the inscribed polygon. click on that. We're going to start from the origin, the center of our drawing here, and just drag out. Now what I want is a six-sided shape. So by default we've got six sides there. Click. And as you move your mouse, it then will change from 6 to 5 to 7 to 8, etc. We want it as a hexagon, so 6 sides. Okay, that's fine. Then we're going to take our dimension tool and just dimension the side of one of the lines here, of the edges there. There we are. And dimension that to 6 mil. Okay, so effectively what I've created is a six-sided shape that has a side length of 6 mil. Okay, that will look something like that. With this still open, I'm going to go to my extrusion tool, and I'm going to extrude this going downwards, okay, with a depth of 3 mil. 3 mil. Okay, and that should give us the head of our bolt there. Okay, and then green tick that. Okay. Perfect. Now we're going to do the same thing on the bottom of this. So we're going to pick the bottom of our shape. Okay. But this time there's going to be a new part. So we're going to click on that surface, and click on sketch. Okay, so on that. Should we not pick up that surface? I may just pick up the line this minute. So we're going to zoom in, make sure we get the surface. That's it, surface there. And then click on sketch. That's right. And press N so we're looking straight at it. We're going to take our inscribed polygon again. Start from the center, drag out the same size. Remember, we can set the size later on, that's fine. 6 sides there. Take our dimension tool, pick the edge, click on that, drag it out. Even though it looks the same, it's not quite the same, so 6 mil, there we are. Okay, and this time, I want this one to extrude going upwards. So I'm going to take our extrusion tool, yeah. We want this one to go the other direction. And I want this to be only 4 mil, but the crucial thing with this is that we want it to be a new shape. So don't leave it on add, make sure you pick new. Okay? And what you should find is that it creates a shape that has a different color to the original bolt there. Perfect. Okay? So I now have a bolt and a nut, effectively. Okay? But the nut itself, if I was to hide the bolt for a minute, the nut doesn't actually have a hole in it at the moment, okay? And we need that there. So and we're going to use another tool for this. We're going to use the Boolean tool. So the Boolean tool is quite a clever mathematical one. So we need to click on this tool here, and it allows you to union shapes together, or subtract shapes, or intersect shapes. We want to subtract. So I'm going to click on that, okay? The tool that I'm going to use is the bolt, okay? And the target is the nut. Okay. Now, the other part I want to make sure is that I'm keeping my tools so I don't lose the bolt in the process. Okay. Now, nothing appears to have changed, but wait a sec. Click on the green tick. Now, look at the two parts here. We could rename these to make sure we know what they are. So this is the bolt and this is the nut to help us. But for the moment, I'm just going to hide one part. So I'm going to hide the bolt. And I'm also going to hide my helix that I made earlier, the curve here. So hide that, there we are, so it's not in the way. And what you should find is that this has carved the shape of the thread inside my nut for me, okay? And that should match what we have on the bolt going into it, okay? So we now have a nut and a bolt that should marry up together, and when we assemble them, they should be able to spin freely in place. Okay,